time to see how far I get with the action queue system. I'm just going to start by creating a new folder, not material. Action queue system. So just to preface this with what this actually is, what the purpose of this is, if you choose to attack someone, instead of just running code that says, okay, you want to attack, now perform that, then you deal the damage, and then that's done. What we want to do is say, you want to attack this unit, add that action of you attacking this target with this ability to a queue. And then we move into a different state altogether that is perform action or perform action queue state, something like that. And then it will run through the different actions in order and say, okay, do this, do that, do this, do that, until there's nothing left in the queue, and then it will return to whatever you tell it to. So what's the other way of doing that? So if you just say with basic code and no action queue, I want to attack this unit, then what happens if you want to add some kind of effect that says this unit gets to counterattack your original attack? Then you say in the code, this thing will attack this thing, but that will then trigger this to attack this, and then that resolves, then the original attack resolves. What we want is for your attack to resolve first, and then for the counterattack to happen, and then the counterattack resolves. Because maybe the counterattack will trigger another effect. So you can just keep going. You can just keep going. All different effects. Keep stacking it in the queue, and then we execute the queue. And more actions can be added to the queue while the queue is running. It's just I just see it as a much better way of handling this sort of system. Now, I created a queue, but this was for a card game. And this was to simulate the stack, I think, from Magic the Gathering, where you resolve one action first, and that can trigger other actions that then get added to the queue at a different level. So the first action will be level 0. If the first action triggers more actions to happen, they will be added at level 1. So the system will run all actions at level 0, all actions at level 1, all actions at level 2, and so on until there's nothing else to do, and then it will reset and it will push you back to whatever code you told it to in a callback. So the callback is usually something like return to the select action phase or end turn if you've got nothing else to do. So that's the idea. And let's get coding it up and see if it's going to be nice and easy. Action queue system. How did I originally do this? It's a static class, so anything can add to the queue at any point. Seems okay. Public static action queue. So we need some way of storing the actions, and this will be the level and then a list of actions to carry out at that level. And then we also store the level, and we'll get to the callback in a minute. So that's fine, just copy in like that. Base action. Let's create a base action. This will be the class that all the other actions inherit from. I believe this will just be public class base action. And what did I say would be good for this? Some kind of level. a callback, and I also had an initiator, as in which card triggered this action. So this might be useful for battle unit if I have which battle unit initiated this action, but I don't know if that's always going to be relevant. Maybe initiator can be added to the specific action where I need it. If it turns out I did actually need this, then I can just add it back in. So we just need what level is the action sitting at, what is the callback in case you need to run a callback. Not all actions will add a callback, but the very first one will. And then also an abstract execute, because the base action doesn't know what you're trying to do, but it does know that each of the subclasses will need to execute some kind of action. So that's why it's there. So level, callback, and then a function. I'm going to do private int level and then have public int level that just returns level, and then a void set level, so it's extremely explicit that you're setting a level. I don't want the level to be changed suddenly. Private action, and we'll call it callback, and I guess same deal here. Maybe in base action it will always set that. And I think each of the actions will need to set that then. So this is maybe not right either. We'll just get rid of that. We'll just set it up in the same way. Probably void set callback. This dot callback equals callback. Alright, and then an abstract IEnumerator for execute the action. And of course this needs to be abstract because we will never add just a simple base action to the queue. It needs to have some sort of subclass. Okay, so I think that's expended its usefulness. So the way that this might work, I guess we can do the checks, but it might be worth just putting the check to begin with into the action queue itself. So it can be, it might be a battle unit targeted action, and then we can just run all of this in the action, and then if it turns out they are a valid target, then we just create another action and add it to the end of the queue. Then that action, because we know that they should be attacked or healed or whatever, that action will run this piece of code to perform the effect containers. Or I guess it would attempt to hit then, and then if it does hit, then it will add another action to do that. Because at each step we may want to change something. If we have an action that is attempt to hit, and then someone is blind, maybe that's where we'll catch it. The action will say, this is what we expect the hit chance to be. Should there be any additions or subtractions to this number? And then it will decide yes or no, and then add another action to the queue to actually do the effect if it hit. So it might seem a bit Um, well, confusing, but when I start actually getting some things running, I think it'll make more sense. All right, so now when we do have an idea of a callback, that should be added into the queue. And maybe close off some of these. Jeez, just keeps going. Okay, I should have just closed all of them and reopened the ones I wanted to use. Well, I need to keep going now. Hey, okay, we'll keep these open. So in the action queue, we will have a public static action, and this will be callback. What else have we got? So we got reset, which is nice. That's just once the queue is done, we will reset the level back to 0, which means the next time something gets added, it will be added at level 0. Action, we are clearing out the action list. It should probably be empty anyway, but it's probably worth just making sure. And we set the callback to null to make sure we don't have a rogue callback that we're not expecting. So now there's add base action. So this is how we add an action to the queue. We first of all check that the action's level already exists in the action queue. And if it doesn't, then we simply add that to the dictionary, because we don't want to be attempting to add to the dictionary at a level that hasn't been initialized yet, because we'll just get an error. So if action, here's a good example of bad naming, action dictionary. Yep, make it clear, make it always clear. If action dictionary does not contain the key of action.level, then we will create that like so. And then that means it's now safe to add that level and that action, or add that action to that level. Get action, get next action, get action. Let's see. So what's getting next action? This seems like bad wording here. So get next action is getting the action. If it's not null, return the action. So this is maybe get action at current level, and this is get next action. Because this doesn't care about the level, this just cares about the action. This one is specifically saying, try and get actions at this level alone, and if there's nothing, then it will return null. Otherwise, it will get an action. So I think I'll put up the bottom one first. Get action at level, at current level. So if action dictionary dot contains key level, and so if this level does exist in the dictionary and action dictionary level dot count is greater than 0. So if there is at least one action at this level in the dictionary at the moment, we grab the action at that level and then we remove it from the dictionary. Okay. So we're grabbing the first item and we return that action. Otherwise, we return null. So that's a solid function. If that level exists in a dictionary, and if there is at least one action in that list, then we will just get it and remove it from the dictionary. So then we have public static base action get next action, because all we want to do is get the next action regardless of which level it's sitting at. So we'll try and get an action from the current level. If the action does not equal null, return that action. Pretty straightforward. So if there is an action at that level, we'll just return it. Otherwise, we're going to check the next level as it says. So we increment the level, attempt to get another action at this level this time. If the action does not equal null, we return the action, but no action found at next level, reset queue. So level, I don't know why I'm doing level equals 0. I've already done level equals 0. Reset. Maybe, do I want to, should I be resetting there? It sounds like I should be resetting. The callback is what I'm interested in. Should I be resetting? We will reset, and then we'll see if that means I've screwed it up. And then the last thing, oh, null code. Okay, return null at the end. It's because we got no action. And then there's going to be IEnumerator execute action. So this is interesting. This is public. Why would this be public? And we just have an execute action which just grabs the next action and then executes it. Is there ever a reason we would want to get the next action which does remove it from the queue, but then not just immediately execute it? I'm not sure. Now there will need to be some checks here, because if you just keep adding things to a queue, there is the chance that actor B is supposed to counterattack actor A, or I'll use the correct terminology for the game. If battle unit B is supposed to counterattack battle unit A, but over the course of a couple of different actions, battle unit B is killed, then of course they should not be able to counterattack. And so an action itself should have a way of erasing itself from the queue. So that might just be a case of subscribing to events when the action is added. Yeah, we'll just play around, see what works. You know what? Maybe there are circumstances where this action queue just does not work. But I think just having smart ways of removing actions from the queue before they're triggered could be the solution to pretty much any problem. So if something shouldn't happen, we just add it to the action itself so that when something happens that should make it stop, it just removes itself from the queue. Right, let's get this last bit added in here. I'm going to make this private for now. Maybe there'll be a reason why it shouldn't be. Execute action. If action dictionary dot count. So if there's no queue, if there's nothing in the dictionary, yield break. Okay. Base action, action equals get next action. If action equals null, we will get out of there early. If the only way the action is null is if there is nothing in the queue and we've decided to reset. Hmm. So if we get an action, if we try to get the next action and it's nothing, it gets here and it says reset everything back to nothing. Then it comes here and says the action was null, which means run the callback. That's why callback isn't in here. I get it now. So we don't want to reset. We just want to set the level to 0 and clear the actions. We still want the callback. Okay, if it's null, run the callback and get out of there. And we're going to yield break out. Otherwise, action.level equals 0. So the action is not null. Okay, so if the action's level is 0, it means it's the first action to come in, which means we set the callback. Yeah, so we set the callback to be used later. We only do that for the first action in the list, because the first action in the list should tell us what it wants to come back to. So if you're in the select target and then you choose a target and you want to then deal damage, maybe the callback would say return to the select action battle state once again. Once you finish dealing damage to the target, go back to the select action phase. So otherwise we're calling a start coroutine to run the action, because the static action queue system can't run coroutines on its own, so I've ended up using a different object to run the coroutine. I don't know how bad this is or if it's completely fine. You're just using a different object to run the coroutine because this can't. Enumerator, wrong one. Enumerator T. I'm not using enumerator T. Huh, okay, so it's a different type in collections as opposed to generic, maybe? Okay. All right, so this line will not be reached if an effect takes us to a different state. Okay, so this is how we repeat our action queue. When we get to perform actions battle state, it will probably call this once, and then this will perform an action, and then we will return to perform actions, and then it will run this again, and it will execute the next action, and then it'll take us back to this. So this is how we perform each action in the queue until eventually there's nothing in the queue and it will call callback instead of trying to perform another action. And the callback will take us back to whichever battle state we want. So let's just add in a battle controller instance, change battle state, and we don't actually have the perform actions battle state at the moment. So let's go and create that. State machine, battle states, anything fairly clean. That's not too bad. So again, you leave in the one when renaming, and you can just Control R this. So this will be perform action battle state. Um, when you enter the state, I will create an IEnumerator. Is that the wrong one again? I enter start coroutine, I enter, and this is where I would do yield return, what's it called? Action queue system dot execute action, and I think that might be it. Because this isn't really doing too much. It just wants to run the next action, and inside this it will decide whether or not to return using the callback, or it will just keep trying to do actions. So change battle state, let's go perform action battle state. And now you get to watch me try to untangle what I've done and get this into actions. I've got a feeling a base action might want access to the battle controller. There's just so much information in the battle controller that it can access the turn, which is probably where I would store things like which tile you clicked on to target. We've already got the selected ability in there. Maybe the whole point of an action is so we don't need outside information though. It's just everything is enclosed in the action. Right, so when we select a target, this perform action is going to turn into um, just creating an action, adding it to the queue, and then changing the state to perform action. And all of this is going to have to get ripped out and changed. So we're doing for each area position, do something. If the battle unit exists, see this code isn't really the best either because we don't want to only target battle units. We would like to target anything that happens to be in the position we've targeted. Um, so things, where is it? The target condition for alive will probably have to change. Again, because what if you're targeting a barrel or a door? It's not alive, but its health is above 0. So maybe some wording changes. Maybe I can make a target condition that is, I don't know, something like human or, you know, not an object essentially. Well, maybe alive is what would count as that then. Maybe alive should be changed to return if the type is something that's not just an object. So yeah, there's a lot of refactoring that's going to come into this. So we just want to know the position. We're going to attack a position and then deal with that. Yeah, now I'm thinking about it, maybe a lot of this code that is specific to battle units, like is the target valid, and we pass in battle units. Maybe the target will have to be entity, like I've thought before. And that would mean anything that's a door, anything that's a barrel, anything that's a person, it can still be targeted and we'll still check for it, but then we just apply the relevant conditions. But as always, let's just keep going and we'll change things when we need to. So we want to create an action that is maybe something like validate target condition container action. We'll create a folder. And we'll do the reverse of what we normally do here. We'll create a different folder for actions, and inside here will be where the actual actions go. Validate target condition action. So this is a base action. We're going to have to implement abstract class, but we also want to do this sort of thing. Make a constructor, and in here we're going to add things like the level. I think the level has to be 0 here. Let's see, do we set? Yeah, sometimes we do just set the level explicitly. We do that in this. So I've passed in a list of targets, which is kind of interesting. That means I can get all of this code as well. Hold on. Am I in the wrong place? All of this code would be out as well. Okay, let's just go all the way. Perform ability action. It's a base action. Implement abstract class. Create a constructor. And now what will this need? Private. At the moment, we'll just keep calling it battle units and not entities. So battle unit user is going to be basically the initiator. A list of battle units for targets v3i. Target positions. So all of the positions we want to hit. The ability we've used. So this needs to get passed in here. List v3i. Target positions. Ability. And then we'll set level to 0. Was that at all? Level and then anything we're passing in. Okay. So then when we execute, this is where we can do some code for, and this will be target positions, although target positions sounds bad now because we've already used that elsewhere, but this is strictly speaking good terminology for what it is. These are the positions we are targeting. So for each of the target positions, we'll check if there's a grid object. We'll try and get a battle unit. So I think this probably does go in here. Target position equals that, just to make it read a bit better. So now what do we have? For each of the target positions, if a target does not exist, just continue. Otherwise, a target does exist and we need to then check them. Right. So we grab the target condition container list. And we're essentially wanting to get down to this level to see if they're a valid target or not before we decide to do more. What did I do in this one? Performing attack action. we'll just take damage. This one, I guess there's no hit chance when it's a card game, so that's a bit more thought going into it. Alright, let's just rip this for now. We'll see if it looks good, if it works. We don't have access to that, but we do have ability, and we do have the user. Hmm, If that is a target, if target is valid, then we run this. So I would like to copy this. We'll just put in a little frame skip at the bottom so that so it doesn't complain anymore. So in here, add attempt to hit battle unit action. Or maybe we just add that in here as well, the attempt to hit. So the difference of what we're doing here would be, do you want to process each target separately or all together? So if you attempt to attack 3 enemies, um, say all 3 of them missed, or all 3 attacks missed on the enemy. Do you want it to pop up missed, wait a bit, missed, wait a bit, missed? Or do you want all 3 to pop up at the one time saying missed? Well, I don't like wasting people's time, so I'm kind of leaning on the side of just do it all at once, which means we don't want to add um, separate actions unless it processes them really fast. Um, um, just running it through my head, see how it looks. Validate target condition. I think this can screw off now because I've already added a lot of that to performability action. Um, what did I say? Right, well hold on. Oh yeah, I still want to get this out before I start completely rewriting this code, or at least stripping it out and changing it. It would be good to just come up with something to say attempt to hit perform effect containers is wild. It just checks if it hits and then performs the effects. Okay, so I guess the whole point of doing separate actions is to allow something to interject. So having a hit chance separate from dealing damage and separate from finding a target makes sense. Check hit chance action. So what's going to be in this one? There's going to be a private battle unit user, private battle unit for target, only one this time. We won't have a list of them because we at this point we don't know if all of them passed. You know, just one may be a valid target, maybe none are valid targets. So we're just passing through one now. Pass through the ability, so we have the hit chance on it, and that's maybe enough. So again, just pass these in, pass these in. That autocomplete was incredible. And so the execute phase will say just what we've got in here really for checking if something hit. Hold on, perform effect containers. So we need all of these. It runs all effect containers and checked if they hit or not. So we need all of them. I'll just copy it rather than cutting. Yield return. So this will be ability dot target condition container list dot perform. No, nope, because it's just one. How do we get that then? How did we? We are looping through all of them. So I guess we don't need the ability, we just need the target condition container. Maybe we need the ability, I'll just comment it out for now to make sure it's not interfering. Target condition container. Because this is the thing that holds everything we're working with now, I believe. So this can get commented out, and then we'll do, okay, this dot target equals that, and then we have access to it here. Perform effect containers. Do we don't want to perform, we just want to check. But that's on each container. I'm running myself in loops here. So each container has their own container effect container list. So maybe there's a step before this that says perform effect containers. Uh, so what, we add each container to the action queue. So this one. We don't want to perform them, we want to add them to the queue. Uh, the attempt to hit is a bit too soon. So we want to add each effect container to the action queue, I think. And we'll just double that or duplicate that. Perform target condition container. This is maybe not the right wording. For each target condition container dot effect container. So it's this that we want access to. And maybe instead of this, we would just have something that adds to the queue, so I can just call that instead of running some crazy long code. Target condition container dot add to queue, because it just runs it. Public void add to queue, and we are going to have the battle unit user battle unit target. Effect container array. So it's kind of just this again, and then this again. And then we will add the did hit. Check hit chance action. It should probably be effect container at this point. When all this is working, it'll look and work beautifully, but just getting the initial setup and rewriting code is a bit tricky. Trying to get in my headspace and remember everything I'm trying to do. So now I can do effect container dot did hit. Okay. Add to queue. This dot use, I guess it's just user target. Effect container, which is just this. Um, but I think we need some kind of idea of what number we're on, what level we're on. Because then I think we want to be increasing this by 1. Check action dot level, set level, something like that maybe. So how do we get that? Add to queue. It's going to be this level. Yeah, just passing in this level. It's a lot of code to not be testing, but I kind of need to do all this in order for it to work in the first place. So when you perform an ability, what happens? We will perform the target condition container action, which seems very wordy. What does it actually want? Target condition container. So user and target, which is, yeah, target battle unit. And then we want to set the level equal to level plus 1, and then add it to the action queue. So if we have multiple targets, they're all going to be performing this action on the same level, because it's just this action's level plus 1. And then when this gets performed, it will add to queue the target condition container, which says add the check hit chance, and in here we will actually check the hit chance if effect container dot did hit, and we pass in the user and the target. Well, if it didn't hit, I guess here would be a good chance to do a pop-up event handler miss, and then yield break. Otherwise, probably event handler hit. I don't know if we, no, I don't think we want that right now. And what do we do? What do we do? We want to create another action, I believe. It would be perform effect. Perform effect action. Again, maybe this is way more than it needs. Maybe it can be much, much more simpler and still have an action queue. But we're going through the motions. It's easy enough to refactor and change, but getting something working is what's important. So perform effect action. Perform effect list. So we probably don't want this. What can we get out of the effect container? We got did hit and we have perform effects, which will change. We don't want to perform the effects in here. Public void add effects to queue. So yeah, we can maybe do what we did in the other place. Add, yeah, add to queue. Did I call it hit chance again? Check hit chance. Wow. Check hit rate to queue. If hit rate is what we're going with, hit rate is what we need to stick with. So yeah, add check hit rate to queue. It will add that to the queue, and then if it's a miss, we'll send some kind of event that said it missed, so we can do pop-ups and other shit. And this also means if someone misses and you signal an event, another unit can then pick up on the event and say who was attacked. If it was myself and they missed, maybe that's what triggers a counterattack. So then it can add a action to the queue that says perform a counterattack because you missed. So yeah, you probably want to set up safety checks for user and target for something like check hit rate, for something like perform an ability, perform effects. If the user dies, get rid of this action because we don't need it anymore. If the target dies, probably still get rid of the action because it doesn't matter anymore. So if we did hit, then we will do effect container dot add effects to queue, passing in the user and the target, and we don't need to yield because we've already done something there. Add effects to queue, which says same deal as this thing. And I've lost it again. There. Perform effect list action equals new user target, but also effect. This is going to be effect list, not an effect container. List of effects. I think this is all we need now, a list of effects. So at the moment we just look through all the effects and then perform them. So yeah, this should be it. How does the damage effect do its thing? Potency is on the component. So yeah, I imagine this should still work. It's not like we're ripping it off of the parent or anything. Okay, so this is going to be effect array rather than list, I guess. May as well just keep it the same. Perform effect list. It's going to be effect array. You can just turn it into a list, but I guess if we've got it in an array, we may as well just use it in an array. This dot effect array equals effect array. And then this doesn't make sense anymore. And this is where we rip out from here. So this is what we've got. We'll just take that. Let's see. So we've already got the effect array stored. We don't need that. Don't need to know how many effects there are. We just need to loop through them and perform the effect on the user and the target. And I've got a feeling, unless there's tons of errors, that it might be okay now. Okay, perform effect containers. This just doesn't run anymore, does it? Let's see, references. Perform action. Okay, the code's still here, but we can remove this now. I will start with this. We don't perform the effect containers. The hit chance should say debug.log. Get out of here, diagnostics. User.unit.displayName. Missed, and then we'll just put in target unit display name. So they missed. And maybe put in the hit as well. Add effects to the queue, which then perform action, perform effect list, set level equal to, we want to pass that in here, last, what did I call this, last queue level, last level, last action level. So it's going to be last action level +1, so it adds to the next part in the next row. And then the action queue system dot add effects to the queue. Boom. Now, what's wrong now? Okay, that's been removed. Let's get all of this out here. I believe we've got all that functionality elsewhere now. So perform ability action. At the top of here, we're going to pay for it. We don't need this crazy long thing anymore. We just have ability.cost.pay, and then we have the user. Perform ability action. Just create another action, just the way we have been. The user is going to be I'll just create some better written variables. That's the user. target positions are going to be area positions, and the ability is going to be selected ability. And I think this automatically sets the level to 0 because it's a starting point. Maybe this shouldn't be there actually. Yeah, let's rip this out. Because you might want to perform an ability on a counter attack. That doesn't make sense to have that automatically set as 0. So we're going to set the level to 0 here because we know this is at what point the queue starts. And then action queue system add the action. We then clear the field to get it ready. And then we switch the state to perform action state. Change state, a bit lazy. We can do change battle state now. Oh, hold on. So change state. Is there no change battle state anymore for states? Change state. Huh. Well, change state is already battle state. That's why was it giving me like all kinds of actions and shit? Check out again. Perform ability action. It's an error. That's weird that it would even give me the option. And yeah, this doesn't need to be an I enumerator anymore because we're not trying to run a billion things in a specific order. We're just letting the queue handle that. So void. And we just get rid of that. And yeah, some of this is still kind of gross. This will change a bit when we start working on the structure more, the actual game/turn structure. But hey, let's see if the queue's gonna work. Level. Anything else? So it should work just the same as it did before. I'll start by trying to attack just the witch, and then I'll move them closer and see if it damages everyone. Oh, I didn't add any callbacks, so that's important. It's not frozen the game because the action queue has played out, but we're stuck in perform action battle state. There's no callback, so it did nothing. So where we start off the action, here we go. Set callback, and this is just some code that's going to run. What do we want it to do? At the moment, we won't do any fancy code. We just want to change the state to select action battle state. So once the queue's finished performing, it should return to the action state again, select action. So we'll stay on the battle controller and we can keep an eye on this as it goes. So it's on select action. We right click to target. We click on the witch and it's taken us back to select action. Now let's see if the witch has actually lost health. No. Okay. So disappointing, something's not working, but at least the loop is working. We can get back here. So let's add some debug lines and see where it's breaking. So we're not getting anything back. We're not getting any messages about uh, if they are a valid target. We're not getting anything like that. So let's see. Perform. What is the perform state? We will just add. We'll just add a debug line in here to show that we are actually getting there. Go away, diagnostics. Okay. Performing an action, and that should probably happen for as many actions as you've got. So it'll go boom, 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 boom. Spam us with messages to show that something's happening. Target there. Perform an action, perform an action. So that'll be the first action, which is this one. Perform ability action. So when this executes, take the target positions. Just make sure we are actually passing the right thing through. Area positions, yep. And it's getting the one target position that we're looking at. Check for a grid object. Just write this out a bit. Grid object is empty, can't target. It could be something as simple as get battle unit, because I don't think that's been tested. Maybe it has and I just forgot. Continue, but also debug log. No target battle unit. And then we also grab this, check each container if it's valid, and then should display that. So one of these is going to trigger. I know it. It's one of these is going to trigger because we didn't get to this point. Else. Yeah, debug log not a valid target. We'll rip the name as well. You know what? Copy the whole thing. Is not a valid target. So this is a lot more debug lines, so hopefully something comes back. Perform an action, perform an action. Huh. The callback is certainly happening. Am I not executing properly? Did I forget something in the queue itself? We are executing an action. Debug.log. It's done it again. Get out of here. Diagnostics. Worst thing ever. About to run the action, and then we'll just slap in the action's name, which I think we can just get type. Bam, bam. About to run performability action, and then the next one, it never actually runs it. Performing an action, about to run performability action. So perform ability action, it does add something to the queue, right? Hold on. Perform ability action. But if it gets here, it surely has to print that. So what is the other action that's running? Execute action, but if we run the callback, break out. So this must run. The effect does run whatever it is, but we don't know what it is. Let's just add in some more checks then. It's the target condition, right? So if we perform this and then we try to add this, I don't understand why. Why are there two actions running? Oh, I see. I see. The second time it says it's running an action is just because this one does something and then redirects back to the perform state. But then when the performance state runs, it finds nothing in the queue and it exits. Okay, so that's why there's two things. It is never actually adding anything else to the queue, which is all of this code. Ah, I think I've maybe got it. I've maybe got it. It's maybe something really annoying. Let's see. In here, clear. What does clear do? It erases the area positions, which is a class, which means I believe when we pass this class into this and then clear right after, it wipes this, meaning there are no positions to scan. So we need to create uh, another variable that is of this type, um, positions to target equals maybe equals new, and then we will just add range, all of the area positions. So this is a new object and we are not clearing it, we are passing that through. That's a problem I've had before with code. You try and pass something through to a completely separate part of your code, but then you clear it thinking it would be fine by that time, but it's not. So hopefully that's all it was. Okay, we're getting a lot more now. Amy is a valid target for this, not a valid target for the foe. about to run perform target condition, performing an action, about to run check hit rate, and then we miss. So this is so much more, so much further. We'll try and run it again, see if we hit. Missed again. What is wrong with this guy? Pete damaged Amy for 5. Let's just scroll through the characters. She's taken 5 damage. So it looks like the turn thing is working, the action queue. Let's just check, because I forgot to check it in a previous video. If we change Amy, the witch, to being an enemy, then we try and target her. Amy's not valid for the ally, and she is valid for the foe. So there we go. Lovely stuff. Back to a player. Damage again. Took 5 damage. She's got 10. Brilliant. So the next test would be, let's bring everyone close together. So that's like 3. Get that down to 0. Is there 1 space between there? What is with that? No chance. Oh no, I see. It's 1 and then 1. One idiot. And then let's bring this one in about 3 as well, so they're all in a row. So now if I hit them, it should roll for all of them, try and hit all of them. And it didn't. Interesting. Oh, hold on, why? Hold on, why was it giving me shit just a minute ago? So let's see. Amy is valid for the ally, not valid for the foe. Susie is valid for the ally, not valid for foe. Lorik's valid, not valid for foe. Performing an action, performing an action. This is checking if they should have the effects run on them, right? Or I guess this is maybe that part. Can we skip a part of this? Effect. Where is it? Effect container. No, we need the effect container. It's this thing here for. Oh no, it adds each container if it should. So that's like deal damage, and then a different container for an effect, and then a different container for someone else. Okay, so about to run perform target condition. We're checking the hit rate, checking the hit rate. So we checked the hit rate 3 times for the 3 characters. Missed Lorik, damaged Amy, and missed Susie. So let's check the health the same, and she lost health. Let's try again. Damaged Amy once more. Hit Lorik. Missed Susie. It says damaged Lorik for 5. So he's down 5. She's dead. And now Amy shouldn't be a valid target. So let's just see. Amy is not a valid target for ally target condition because part of that says she has to be alive. And she is dead. So that's great. This is working. I'm very happy with the action queue. There's so many more actions to be added. The movement will probably be an action. I just need to change the code around. So this target condition, wrong thing. Select target is looking a lot neater now that I've extracted the code and shipped it off into an action. The actions themselves can have uh, different events that other parts of your code can subscribe to and affect it. So again, this hit rate part here, at the moment I'm simply checking did it hit. What I can do instead is pass other things into this. So maybe if the user is blind, you can factor for send out an event that says this user is about to attack this user, but we need to know if there's anything out there, any reason why the hit chance should change. Then you return something that says the user's hit chance should actually be minus 50 because they're blind, and then you factor that in here. So it's a good way of keeping the code that's relevant to each part of your game within an action. So I think that's it for this video. Added the action queue, added a new state, did a lot of code refactoring. Yeah, I'm happy with this. The next one, maybe I'll take a little break from the hardcore stuff and spend a video trying to update how the game looks graphically or something. Alright, thanks for watching.